There is a specific, haunting time of night, usually around 3 hours or 3:30 in the morning, when the undeniable reality of being deeply in debt over the age of 40 comes alive. The house is quiet. The distractions of work, family, and television are gone, and you wake up, heart pounding, mind racing, with a feeling of crushing physical weight sitting squarely on your chest. You stare at the ceiling, and against your will, you start doing the mental math that you successfully avoid during the daylight hours. You think about the credit card balance on the Visa that seems to grow every month no matter how much you pay. You think about the car payments for 2 vehicles that together eat up 15% of your take-home pay. You think about the mortgage, the home equity line of credit you used to renovate the kitchen, the student loans you took out for your kids because you couldn't say no, the medical bill from that surgery last year that is still sitting on the counter, unpaid. When you are 25 and in debt, it feels like a temporary, almost bohemian condition. It's a rite of passage. You have your whole life ahead of you to fix it, to earn more, to grow out of it. But when you are 45 or 50 or 55, debt feels entirely different. It feels permanent. It feels like a trap with no exit. It feels like deep, corroding shame. It feels like a betrayal of the person you thought you would be by this age. Society tells you, and you tell yourself, that by midlife, you should be established. You should be building wealth, talking about retirement portfolios and second homes, not drowning in basic bills. You should be thinking about how to leave a legacy, not worrying about how to keep the lights on if your paycheck is 3 days late. If you are watching this, and you are over 40 and buried in debt, I want you to know something incredibly important right now. The shame you feel is the single biggest obstacle to your freedom. It is keeping you paralyzed. It is keeping you hidden in the shadows of denial. You are likely part of the sandwich generation, simultaneously squeezed between raising expensive teenagers and caring for aging, ailing parents, all while trying to maintain a middle-class lifestyle that inflation has made impossibly expensive over the last few years. You didn't get here because you are stupid. You didn't get here because you are lazy or immoral. You got here because life is expensive, unexpected tragedies happen, and the entire modern financial system is expertly designed to lure you into debt and keep you there forever, paying interest until you die. But here is the hard, brutal truth as we stand on the threshold of 2026. No one is coming to save you. The government is not going to erase your credit card bills. There is no magic jubilee coming. Your boss is not going to double your salary out of the kindness of their heart just because you need it. If you want peace of mind, real, deep, lasting peace of mind where you sleep through the night and don't dread the mailbox, you have to fight for it. You have to take it. 2026 has to be the year you draw a line in the sand and declare total, unwinnable war on your debt. To win this war, especially starting late, we need a general. We need a strategy that is based not on emotion, guilt, or wishful thinking, but on cold, hard, mathematical reality and deep wisdom. We need the philosophy of Warren Buffett. Now you might reasonably ask, what on earth does a multi-billionaire know about being deeply in consumer debt? The answer is, he knows that debt is the ultimate enemy of independence. He knows that debt introduces lethal fragility into your life. While Buffett is famous for making vast amounts of money, his primary rule of life and investing is actually about not losing money. He is profoundly risk-averse. He has structured his entire life and his massive conglomerate, Berkshire Hathaway, to be an impregnable fortress that can withstand any economic storm, recessions, depressions, wars, pandemics. He keeps tens of billions of dollars in cash sitting idle, earning very little return, not because he doesn't know how to invest it, but because that cash buys him the ultimate luxury, never being forced to do something he doesn't want to do by a creditor. It buys him sleep. For the person over 40 drowning in debt, the Buffett method is not about picking stocks. Forget about stocks right now. You are not ready for that. The Buffett method for you is about ruthlessly eliminating fragility from your life. It is about reclaiming your independence from the banks and credit card companies that currently own a significant percentage of your future labor. This is your 2026 financial turnaround plan. It is a deep dive into a 4-phase process. It will be hard. It will require sacrifices that will hurt your ego and change your daily life. But the prize at the end is getting your life back before it's too late. Phase 1. The psychological battlefield. Admitting the reality. Before we can look at a spreadsheet or a budget app, we have to look in the mirror. The hardest part of getting out of debt after 40 is simply admitting the full scope of how bad it really is. For years, perhaps decades, you have likely been engaging in what psychologists call motivated avoidance. You don't open the bills that look like bad news. You set up auto-pay for the minimum amounts and never look at the total balance. You transfer balances from one 0% APR card to another to buy time, telling yourself you are managing the debt when you are really just shuffling deck chairs on the Titanic. You might even tap into your home equity to pay off credit cards, feeling a temporary sense of relief, only to run the cards right back up within 18 months because the underlying habits never changed. You do this to protect your ego. Admitting the total raw dollar amount of your debt feels like admitting you are a failure as an adult. It feels like a character flaw. Warren Buffett has a simple, profound rule for dealing with problems in business and life. If you find yourself in a hole, the first thing to do is stop digging. You cannot stop digging if you don't know you are in a hole, or how deep it really is. You cannot fix what you refuse to face. Therefore, the first step of your 2026 turnaround, which must be completed in the first week of January, is the brutal truth audit. This is an event. You are going to sit down at your kitchen table, perhaps with your spouse if you are married, and you must do this together, no secrets, with a strong pot of coffee and no distractions. You are going to physically gather every single statement, every credit card, the car loans, the mortgage, the student loans, yours and your kids, the medical bills, the buy now, pay later agreements for the Peloton or the new mattress, the personal loan from your brother-in-law that you haven't spoken about in 2 years. You are going to write them all down on a single legal pad or spreadsheet. You need 3 columns: the name of the debt, the total balance owed, and the interest rate. Then, you're going to take a deep breath, and you are going to sum up the total balance column. The number you see will likely make you feel physically ill. It might be $50,000, excluding the mortgage. It might be $150,000. It might be much more. You might cry. You might get angry. You might feel a wave of despair. That reaction is good. That reaction is necessary. That pain is reality finally breaking through the fog of denial you have lived in. You must stare at that number until it stops being a scary monster in the closet and just becomes a cold, hard fact. It is not a moral judgment on you. It is just a mathematical equation that needs to be solved. Next, look at the interest rates. This is where the Buffett philosophy kicks in. Buffett understands compound interest better than almost anyone. He knows it is a force that can work for you, building massive wealth, or work against you, destroying your future. When you have high-interest consumer debt, credit cards at 22%, 25%, or even 29%, compound interest is weaponized against you. You are not just paying for the things you bought years ago. You are paying for the time it takes you to repay the money. Every day you carry that balance, a significant portion of your labor is being transferred to a bank. You are working for them, not for your family or your future. When you are over 40, you do not have enough working years left to spend them making bankers rich. You must emotionally connect with the fact that your debt is an emergency. It is not a nuisance. It is a 5-alarm fire burning down your future financial security. Until the fire is out, nothing else matters. Phase 2. The Buffett Moat. Strategy. Securing the perimeter. This is where most standard debt advice goes wrong for people over 40. The typical advice is, take every spare dollar you have and throw it at the debt immediately. Live on rice and beans. If you were 25, single, and renting a cheap apartment, that might work. But at 45, with a house that needs repairs, kids who need braces, and aging parents who need help, life is complicated, expensive, and fragile. Things break, people get sick, jobs get lost, or hours get cut. If you throw every spare dollar at your credit cards and you have zero cash in the bank, what happens when the car transmission blows up and costs $3,000 to fix? You have no choice. You have to put it right back on the credit card you just paid down. This cycle, pay down, have an emergency, charge it back up, is devastatingly demoralizing. It feels like taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back on a slippery slope. It breaks your spirit and makes you want to give up. Warren Buffett always insists on having a massive amount of liquidity, cash on hand that is not invested. He calls it his moat. It protects his financial castle. He never ever wants to be in a position where a temporary crisis forces him to make a bad long-term decision, Because he needs cash today. Before you attack your debt aggressively in 2026, you must build a small moat around your life to handle the inevitable bumps of midlife. Your goal in January is not to pay down extra debt yet. It is to scrape together a peace of mind fund of exactly $2,000. If you own an older home and have multiple dependents, you might aim for $3,000. But no more than that for now. This is your buffer against Murphy's Law. How do you get this $2,000 if you are living paycheck to paycheck? This is where you apply Buffett-level frugality and hustle. You have to go into crisis mode. You must cut your lifestyle to the bone for 30 days. No eating out at all. No entertainment spending. Cancel every subscription. Sell things you haven't used in a year on Facebook Marketplace or eBay. Work overtime if it's available. Do odd jobs. Do whatever it takes legally to get that $2,000 sitting in a savings account that is separate from your checking account. This money changes the entire psychology of debt repayment. When an unexpected expense happens, and I guarantee you, at age 45 it will happen, you don't panic. You don't feel defeated. You don't reach for the Visa card. You use the fund. It turns a crisis into a mere inconvenience. And then, you pause your debt plan temporarily to refill the fund back to $2,000. You are no longer relying on debt to solve problems caused by debt. You have broken the cycle of dependency. You have established a perimeter of safety. Phase 3. The attack plan. The mathematics of freedom. You have faced the brutal truth. You have built your small moat. Now, it is time to attack the enemy. In the personal finance world, there is a massive debate about the best way to pay off debt. The snowball method versus the avalanche method. The snowball method says you list your debts from smallest balance to largest balance, completely ignoring the interest rate. You pay minimums on everything else and throw all your extra money at the smallest debt until it's gone. Then you roll that money to the next smallest. The idea is that these quick wins give you psychological momentum and motivation. The avalanche method says you list your debts from highest interest rate to lowest interest rate. You pay minimums on everything else and throw all your extra money at the debt with the highest interest rate, usually the nastiest store credit card. Which would Warren Buffett choose? Buffett is rational. He is mathematical. He hates inefficiency and waste. He doesn't care about psychological tricks if they cost him money. Buffett would unequivocally choose the avalanche method. Why? Because it is mathematically superior. It saves you the most money in total interest paid and gets you out of debt faster than any other method. When you are over 40, you don't have time for inefficiency. You don't have time to pay thousands of dollars extra in interest just to feel a psychological boost. You need the most efficient, ruthless path to freedom. You need to kill the debts that are killing you the fastest. Those 25% and 29% APR credit cards are a financial cancer. Every dollar you pay toward a 4% car loan or a 6% student loan while you still have a 25% credit card balance is a mathematical error. It is irrational capital allocation. Your 2026 attack plan looks like this. Identify the enemy. Look at your brutal truth audit. Circle the debt with the absolute highest interest rate regardless of the balance. This is public enemy number 1. Calculate the arsenal. You need to figure out exactly how much extra money you can throw at this debt every month. This requires a zero-based budget, where every dollar is assigned a job before the month begins. You must cut your lifestyle significantly to free up cash. This is the aggressive gap we talked about in other videos. Let's say you find an extra $600 a month by downsizing your lifestyle. The automated attack. Set up automatic minimum payments for every single debt you have except public enemy number 1. This ensures you never miss a payment and ruin your credit further. The precision strike. Every single month take that extra $600, plus the minimum payment you were already making on that card, and pay it toward public enemy number 1. You attack it relentlessly. You throw tax refunds at it. You throw bonuses at it. You throw garage sale money at it until it hits 0. The rollover. Once that first most toxic card is paid off, you do not celebrate by spending that money. You take the total amount you were paying on it, say the $600 extra plus the $150 minimum, true equals $750, and you aim that entire avalanche at public enemy number 2, the next highest interest rate debt. This process is going to be painful and long. If you have significant debt, for the next 18 months to 3 years, you are going to be living a scaled-back life. You won't be going on expensive vacations. You won't be getting a new car. You will be wearing old clothes. We need to talk about battle fatigue. About 6 months into this process, the initial adrenaline will wear off. You will be tired of saying no to yourself. You will look at your friends going out to nice dinners and feel jealous and deprived. You will want to quit. This is where you need the Buffett mindset of long-term thinking. You have to fall in love with the process of buying back your freedom. You have to stop tracking your self-worth by what you buy and start tracking it by how much principal you paid off this month. Every time you send a massive payment to a credit card company, visualize shackles falling off your wrists. Visualize the bank CEO getting slightly less of your hard-earned money. Visualize your future self at age 60, free and secure, thanking you for the sacrifice you are making today. You will have to navigate a social minefield. You will have to decline invitations to expensive weddings, group trips, and holiday gift exchanges. You don't have to explain your whole financial life. Learn the power of a simple, firm, no. That's not in our budget right now, but I'd love to see you for coffee. True friends will understand. The others don't matter. Phase 4. The pivot to ownership. Life after debt. What happens when you make that final payment? What happens when the last credit card balance hits $0? So zero. The day the last toxic debt is gone is a day of immense celebration. You will feel a physical lightness you haven't felt in decades. The 3 a.m. wake-up calls will stop. The low-level anxiety hum will go silent. But this is also a moment of extreme danger for the 40-plus crowd. Many people, once they clear their debt after years of restriction, feel a sense of immense relief and entitlement. They think, I did it. I suffered long enough. Now I can finally breathe and buy the things I denied myself. This is called the relief rebound. And within 3 years, they have leased a new car, booked a luxury cruise, and are right back in debt, older, and with less time to fix it again. You must use the completion of your debt journey not as a finish line, but as a pivot point. You must pivot immediately from paying for past mistakes to funding your future freedom. This is the ultimate Buffett transition, shifting from being a borrower to being an owner. The very next month after your debt is gone, you have a massive amount of free cash flow in your budget. That $800, $1,500, or $2,000 a month you were throwing at banks is now yours to keep. You must not absorb this back into lifestyle spending. You must capture it immediately. First, you take your small $2,000 peace of mind fund and you grow it rapidly into a full-fledged emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of full living expenses sitting in a high-yield savings account. This is your fully funded Buffett moat. It makes you financially anti-fragile. Job losses or medical crises will no longer threaten your foundation. Once that moat is full, you take that massive monthly cash flow that used to go to debt and you start pouring it into wealth-building assets. You max out your catch-up retirement contributions to 401ks and IRAs. You buy low-cost index funds. Because you have spent the last few years living on much less than you make, this transition is seamless. You don't feel deprived because you are used to this lifestyle. You are already disciplined. You are already frugal. Now, instead of those habits just getting you back to zero, they are propelling you toward wealth. Even starting at 50 or 55, if you can throw $2,000 a month into investments because you have absolutely no debt payments, you can build a significant, life-changing nest egg in 10 to 15 years before retirement. Conclusion: the definition of peace. Peace of mind after 40 is not about having a certain flashy amount of money in the bank to show off, although having money helps. Real peace of mind comes from the deep knowledge that you are in control of your own life. It comes from the knowledge that you don't owe anyone anything. It comes from knowing that you own your time, your labor, and your future. It comes from knowing that if you lost your job tomorrow, you wouldn't lose your house. Warren Buffett built his entire life and business philosophy so that he would never, ever have to worry about money or be beholden to creditors. He did it by respecting the awesome power of compound interest, by avoiding debt like the plague, by prioritizing liquidity and safety, and by valuing long-term security over short-term appearance. If you are drowning in debt right now, 2026 is your chance to finally adopt that philosophy. It will likely be the hardest financial year of your life. You will have to confront ugly truths about yourself. You will have to deny yourself things you want right now. But on the other side of that struggle is a life you can't even imagine right now. A life where the mailbox doesn't scare you. A life where you sleep soundly through the night. A life where your paycheck actually belongs to you. The plan is laid out. The principles are proven. The only variable left is your courage to begin. Let's make 2026 the year you finally get free.